Hey guys, it's Jake, aka Cryosian. Today, I want to talk to you guys about microphones. So you can see we have this one right here. This is the Rode NT-A1. It's a great microphone. I've been using it for a long time. But I do have a couple other ones as well. I have an SM58 by Shure sitting over here. I think I might have a couple little like lapels and like little cheap microphones laying around. But what I don't have is a nice wireless microphone. So thankfully, my friends over at Fifine Technology reached out to me and wanted me to do a review on one of their wireless microphones. So they sent me the wireless microphone K025. This is the box it came in. You can see Fifine Technology right there. So when I opened it up, it's a very simple setup. We have two pieces here, the microphone and the receiver. Now, a lot of times with these microphones, you'll get like a big box that you'll have to plug in and have cables running everywhere. And it's a very professional setup. It probably sounds really great, but it's pretty expensive and can be very complicated, especially if you just need something small. So what they did here was they gave you this little receiver box that has a 1/4-inch cable end. You plug that into your audio interface for your computer, to your mixer, to the speakers directly, whatever you have, and that's it. You need 2 AAAs and 2 AAs, and then you plug it in, turn it on. It pretty much syncs automatically. I had no problem with that at all, and you're good to go. So with this receiver, it's very simple. You have a little battery box down here. You have the 1/4-inch jack up here. And then over here, you have an antenna that you can pull out just in case you need a little bit of extra distance on your reception. For me here in my studio right here, obviously there's no problem. But if you're going to be doing like DJing a wedding or doing karaoke or emceeing an event of any kind and you need to move around, this will get you a little bit of extra distance and can be very helpful. So also in here, we have the power switch. Turn it off and on, and then the little LED that tells you if it's synced, if the battery's low, if it's trying to sync. There's a whole number of different like patterns it'll do just to show you kind of what the status is. Then on the actual microphone itself, it's got a pretty good weight to it. You know, the whole thing costs $30, so you don't expect like a super high-end microphone and everything, but one thing that I like a lot that's actually just a really small detail, this bottom piece is actually rubber. So you can hit it on the table accidentally, you can kind of set it there, and you don't have to worry about a big, hard, plasticky knock or like a metal knock. And especially if people are holding this like over a podium or a table or anything, and they're bumping it on things, man, that can go right through the speakers and just rattle everything. So this rubber piece, amazing. Now, as far as the actual screen and stuff here, you have an off and on switch. Turn it on, you got a nice little screen right there. That's it. It's a very simple setup. In the little instruction manuals, it did say if you have multiple of these or if you're getting interference, you can change the channel that these are on, the frequency range that it's kind of sitting on, to have multiple things across the spectrum so they're not all competing for the same one and getting feedback and all kinds of weirdness. So though it's a cheap and simple setup, it does give you flexibility to kind of customize it how you need to, depending on the situation. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing plugged in. We'll test it out, see how it sounds, especially in comparison to this mic. And then I'm going to walk around a little bit and kind of see how it fares going through walls, going a little bit further away, maybe even going outside a little bit, and just see how it still sounds. So let's take a walk. So here we are looking at my wonderful Complete Audio 6 interface. And I'm going to go ahead and plug this thing in. It's actually really simple. You take this 1/4-inch jack, plug it into the 1/4-inch jack there, and you're good to go. Done. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. And we'll turn the microphone on. And we're good to go. So let's get into a little comparison between these two microphones and see how they actually sound. You've heard me talking through the Rode microphone plenty of times in the past. It's my standard setup. So this is me talking through that right now. You can kind of hear it sounds pretty decent. There's a little bit of a windscreen, so that cuts out a little bit of the highs, but overall sounds pretty good. Now I'm talking through the Fifine K025. We'll see how that sounds. I have noticed in my little bit of testing that it does seem to be very sensitive, and especially because there's no windscreen, you hear a lot of that popping sound. So that's the one downside to keeping it so close to your mouth like you're supposed to with these microphones. But if you pull it away from your mouth a little bit, it doesn't seem to be quite as sensitive, but you lose that popping and everything. And this is typically where other people are going to hold the mic anyway. So if you're doing this for a wedding to hand to somebody to talk, or an event, they're probably going to be talking with it down here anyway. So I would figure out how to get the levels right with it down here, and then just adjust it if they bring it up to the mouth right here. All right, and this is me talking into the microphone. I am just about 10 feet away from the receiver right now, so I would expect to have no interference, and it should still sound great. Let's head outside. All right, so now I'm outside the studio, just down probably another 15, 20 feet or so, but there's a few walls in the way. So we'll see how this sounds through a couple walls, and check that out later. All right, I'm here in my backyard now, probably 70 or 80 feet away, down a story though, and there's a whole bunch of walls in the way, so I would expect this to still sound fine. I don't expect there to be any issues whatsoever, but we'll see how that sounds now. All right, I wanted to do one more comparison real quick. Before I took this microphone, went to different locations and tried talking, it looks like there was some issues with the reception and all that. So now what we're gonna do is one continuous shot. I'm just gonna talk to you guys, and we're gonna take a walk. So we're here in my studio. Obviously things are gonna sound great. But as we go, we're gonna go down the stairs now. Might start cutting out a little bit. So I don't know if you guys can even still hear this, but we're walking outside now, just going a little bit further. Hopefully this thing still can get some reception. Wow, that's bright. That's probably far enough. I imagine you can't hear anything at this point. So we're gonna head back now, see when it picks up again, and we'll go from there. So I don't know where you guys are at, but it is a beautiful day today. Earlier this week it got to be super hot, but thankfully right now it's not too bad. We'll head back up here into the studio, and I imagine that this will start picking up again any second now, and by now it should sound great again. So let's take a look at that and see where it actually cuts out and about how far away that is. Keeping in mind there's quite a few walls in the way, so it's always gonna be a problem. Well, what are my final thoughts on this wireless microphone? The K025 by Fifine technology. This is a great microphone if you're looking for something simple and cheap and just really easy to use. All it takes is this 1/4-inch jack, so you just gotta plug it into anything that you got going on, a mixer, an audio interface, speakers directly, and it'll start working. Not a whole lot going on the actual mic itself. There's an on and off button and a little screen to tell you what channel it's on. If you don't have any other microphones to worry about, it connects super easily and then it just works. Some of the negatives, however, are it doesn't seem to have a very strong receiver, which I wouldn't expect for something so simple and small as this. I tried walking about 15 feet away through a couple of walls and it cut out almost completely. So if you're going to be using this with a lot of obstructions between the receiver and the microphone, I would be hesitant to recommend this to you. However, if it's going to be in a wide open area, like an event, for example, or if you're DJing or MCing, anything like that, this thing should work just fine. I wouldn't have any concerns about that whatsoever. As for the actual sound of the microphone, I think it sounds great. It obviously doesn't quite compare to the high-end microphones that are out there, but again, for $30, this thing sounds way better than I expected. The only caveat to that is because there's no windscreen on the actual microphone, it's very sensitive, and so it gets those puff of air kind of sounds. They pick it up very easily. So try to talk to whoever's going to be using the mic, or if you're using it, be aware of that and just keep it a little bit further from your mouth. You don't want to have it up against your mouth or else it's going to sound terrible. But the actual sound is pretty good overall, and for this kind of microphone, this tier, this thing is excellent. if you're going to want a much better microphone than this, you're going to end up spending probably 4 or 5 times the price, I would imagine, and get into a much more complicated territory. So this thing easily competes with microphones multiple times its price. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you've used this microphone before, or if you're looking for one, go ahead and check it out. It's, like I said, it's $30 on Amazon. So go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you want to see more content about music production. I put out videos as often as I can, going all over the music production spectrum. So hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Again, I'm Jake, aka Corrosion, and I'll see you guys later.